So this is Baruch. I'm at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and what you're looking at is part of the cover page, which is, I think, an old astrological drawing. I can't really read the letters. They look like they're in Latin. But what you have here is, imagine that the outer circle, the outer ring here, is actually moving. And that within that ring are 12 other rings. That they are also turning. All of it is turning. They're turning in different ways according to the energy that's coming into them. And as Rabbi YAAKOV has been explaining, is that energy is coming from different permutations of the name YAAKOV. So after the balls that look like, or we'll call them, you really could think of them as balls as well. But the cycle that are all turning, then you go to a uniting cycle, which is inside of that, and then another cycle inside of that, and inside of that is a clock. All of these things are very, very highly tuned. And there are circles within circles within circles. You can find ultimately more and more and more circles. And as we have said in the Kabbalah of this, is that the Kabbalists refer to our world as the world of wheels. Wheels imply movement. But you see that the way that the universe is set up, so that we can be living here, we could be here and living here. The way that the universe is set up is very, very, very precise. All of these things turning, and the things that they turn each independently according to the light which is going through them, which is coming through them, which is constantly changing through these 12 permutations. Now, the 12 permutations of the name of Hashem. Now, yesterday the shir got a little bit mixed up at the end because I had an emergency call. Let's call it that. My daughter was leaving for Israel, and that's Hacham, and I had to run over there, and I lost track of the time. I want to read this idea to you again, because there is a lot for me in this chapter. He says over here, the basic lesson of Adam's chart. So the world started revolving at a certain point. That was the point of the birth of Adam Rishon. Then the way that it revolves now after the sin of Adam Rishon, and our relationship to the energy that's within reality. The basic lesson of Adam's chart comes to teach you that you shouldn't think that all of the energies are coming from the planets or the signs only, as if they are the ones who determine what is happening down here on Earth. They are the conduits of much higher influences. Everything really comes from God, and it comes, among other things, through the permutation of His names. Because God has more than one name. Names are doorways and pathways to be able to reach higher levels. So through these different permutations of God's name, the energies coming down are different in every month. So the name changes, the light that comes through that name changes, and so the world changes. Let's go back to where I kind of got sidetracked yesterday. And we were talking about the 10th permutation. The 10th permutation is the month of Tevis, which is the sign of Capricorn, which is, later he's going to tell us that it is a Saturnian sign, which is the time of the darkness part of the year. Now, where we got mixed up over here was somewhere in this area. Okay, so this here we were talking about. Let me just find the a good place. Okay. Here we're talking about the permutations of the month of Tevis, which is Capricorn. The permutations are beginning with the letter He, which is female. We understand it means constriction or den, followed by the Yud, and then another Hey, because we know there's two Heys in the name of God, followed by which is female once again, followed by the letter Vav. So let's see if I could pick up from here and try to make sense out of this. So he says the permutation of the month of Tevis, which is Hey, Yud, K, Vav, teaches us about the Yud. What is the Yud? The Yud is the father who goes down to be with the Hey, which is Malchus, which is the daughter. And the daughter, so it's, therefore you would have Hey, this Yud would be next to this Hey. It's this way he's looking at. And the daughter, let's go, the daughter goes up to meet him in the middle. So there they are, the Hey, the Yud, and the Hey of that middle part. Both of them are there in the middle of the name, which means they both left their place. Now this, he's talking about Capricorn. They are the Chochmah, which is wisdom, that's that letter Yud, and Malchus, which is kingship. So now the two of them are together. The Abba, the father, came down, and instead of being before the Ima, before being the mother, which is the normal way, which is the proper way, he moved down to be after the Ima. He moved down to be after the mother. And the Ima, which is the Hey, went up, and the Vav, which is Tiferes, came down. So, and this also teaches us about Din, which is strict judgment. Because now there is no yichud, that you can't get male-female together. Co-joining of masculine and feminine energies, he says. Because they're out of order. The feminine Heys are coming first in both pairs in the permutation. It's either Hey Yud or Hey Vav. So that means when the female comes first and dominates, as we are starting to see here in the country that I'm living in right now, in the United States, where I am a citizen here, but things are going the feminine way. And that means that you're going to be din. We have a president right now, his name is Biden. So Biden is really the word bedin, Biden. This is a very punishing guy. And he's punishing Israel right to now. At this moment, I don't know what God has in mind, but here, that's what this instrument is doing. So anyway, we're at a time at din we're talking about. When there is no yichud, it teaches us about a time when there is no energy coming down. Everything's blocked. There's a principle in Kabbalah which states that energies come down from the upper worlds only when there is a yichud down here below. Things have to be in the right order down here to be able to allow the root, which is down here by us, to be able to send back up to its source. When there is a relationship between male and female, you have to have this possibility of that relationship. So when this relationship does not exist, there are no energy coming down. So it is a time of strict judgment. The Hey, the letter Hey, which is normally on the left, takes over the right. It dominates the right. This is the female dominating the male, which is normally the Yud. So he said the Yud should be the first one. But this moves to the concept of Hey Yud, where the Hey is dominating the male. So he says, and the strength of this causes the Vav in the second unit, which is the Vav, the K Vav, to move down and let the Hey go up and make Hey Vav. So the interesting words that he used here, and maybe specific, so let me look at it again. And the strength of this, the strength of the fact that you have the female dominating the male at the top, at the beginning. He says this causes the Vav, which is in the second case, which is Hey Vav, that second unit to move down and let the Hey go up to make Hey Vav. In other words, because the beginning switched and made itself into a female dominated, so the lower part became female dominated too, which causes the block in the energy flow and brings about strict judgment. Now he says it's interesting here. Let me see if I can get this page straightened out a little bit. The Hey, which is normally, let's see what I got, and this is similar, it's okay. Okay, and the strength is causes the first thing you said, the Mecklenburg causes the block and the energy flow and brings down strict. And this is similar to the fourth permutation. That's where we're at. The permutation of the sign of Cancer, which is Hey Vav, Hey Yud, which the original Yud is not even up at the top. It's all at the very bottom. He says the sign of Cancer, which is more about strict judgment than is the month of Tevis. So here you have in Cancer, it's a very similar combination of letters. It's Hey Vav, Hey Yud. Here it's Hey Yud, Hey Vav. Very similar, but not quite the same. And he explains. He says the Hey Yud Vav, now the Hey Yud and the Hey Vav that we have now of Capricorn is not as much about a strict judgment as the Hey Vav and the Hey Yud of Cancer, which turns everything completely around. When compared to the prime name Yud K Vav K, which is the way that the flow really does work. In each of the subunits of two letters in Capricorn, so that he says these are subunits. It's the Hey Yud and the Hey Vav. He says the Hey Vav and the Hey Yud. That's the way he said it. The Hay's rules, the Hay's rule. So there is a lot of judgment there, but not as much as when the letters in each of the subunits are themselves turned around, like in the month of Cancer. That's what I was saying, is that the Yud's in the wrong place. This is because the month of Tevis, which is Capricorn, the sequence is Hey Yud, and the Yud is on the top, is in the first sequence, and the Hey Vav, which is, Hey is the mother, then comes the father, and then the daughter, and then the son, which is the Vav. So it's still the parents up in the top, and the children down below, which is less of a mix-up than the month of Tammuz, which is Hey Vav, Hey Yud, where the Yud, which should be on the top, and the top sequence is not there. Where the sequence is mother and son, followed by daughter and father. All this teaches us about the important concept in Kabbalah called or Choser, returning light. Now, what is Reb Yaakov, not the rabbi, going to teach us here? Let's call him a Hacham, because that he is. Hacham KRONENBERG. There is the Or Yasher, the straight line. The straight line is the light of God which is shining right at us, which is the light coming down from above, from Keter Chochmah to Chochmah, wisdom to Bina, and then you have the returning light, which is going from the bottom to the top, which is the light goes up from below, which starts from Malchus, also known as kingship, and goes up to Bina. This happens because Bina, which is the letter Hey, is sending to Chochmah, so she's dominating and sending to Chochmah. And this is mirrored below with Malchus sending to Tiferes. So in other words, you're talking about this. This is what we call the reverse. So it's the reverse. It's from Lamata Lamala. Instead of Lamala Lamata, there's another sequence, and that's the sequence of the month of Capricorn. He says, let me read it again. This because Bina, which is that letter Hey, is sending to Chochmah. It's Hey Yud. So she sends to Chochmah. And then it's mirrored or copied below with Malchus sending to Tiferes. So this means that you're coming from the bottom, going up to the top, and then another sequence going from the bottom to the top. And so this teaches us about the Or Choser, the light which goes up. And that's the shiur. Now, I understand that, just interesting, some people really like these shiurim. This particular information, I think, is great. Really, really great. And I hope that people enjoy this. It gives you an idea of how actually God set up the movement in this world. This is Baruch Fleischman, and this has been the Tikkun Elevator Kollel.